Hey guys, we're Will today. So in today's video, we're talking about the Crusaders versus the Highlanders in round 6 of Super Rugby Aotearoa. So yeah, this should be a very interesting game, obviously, with the Crusaders having a bye week last week, so they'll be able to be more rested up, you could say, for this game. And yeah, no, they're coming back off a win against the Blues 2 weeks ago, which was a very impressive win, if I have to say so myself. So yeah, they'll try to continue their form, really, and just, continue their dominance, you could say, within this competition. Yeah, on the other hand, the Highlanders are coming back from a loss against the Hurricanes from last week, and yeah, it's one of those which it was a hard one to take really for the Highlanders because they had chances to actually break down the Hurricanes, but they just never took them. And yeah, the Hurricanes at the end of the day actually broke them down. So yeah, it's one of those which the Highlanders will obviously be looking to regain their winning form, and yeah, no better team really to do it and make a name for yourself against the Crusaders away. And yeah, like I said, the Crusaders are going to be playing at home in Christchurch, so that's a huge advantage for them, obviously, because they win most of the games at home. But yeah, we'll go into the lineups. But anyway, here are the lineups, obviously, for both sides. I'll run them by with you guys, tell you what I think about them, and yeah, I'll give you my prediction right afterwards. So obviously, starting with the Crusaders, you do have the likes of Joe Moody and Michael Aotearoa as your props, and it's pretty good props, I'd say, probably the best in the competition so far. Still, that pairing has just been too dominant, really, compared to all the other props, in my opinion. So yeah, I mean they should have an easier run, you could say, against the likes of Ethan de Groot from the Highlanders as well as Takalahi. Takalahi has actually been very impressive I'd say, for the Highlanders throughout this campaign so far, but I just think the Crusaders are too strong within that prop section. So yeah, I'll probably give it to the props for the Crusaders in that one. For the hooker then, the hooker obviously, Cody Taylor, he's probably been the best player, you could say, within Super Rugby Aotearoa so far. So I don't think there's any player that would actually take over him at this point. Yeah, I mean, he is facing the likes of Ash Dixon, who obviously is the captain for the Highlanders. But it's more or less, I just think Cody Taylor has really just stepped up his game, especially within this year's campaign. And yeah, he will for sure want to continue his dominance, if you want to say that. But anyway, moving on to the locks. So obviously with the Crusaders, you do have the likes of Scott Baird, who's obviously your captain, and then Sam Whitelock. So that's a pretty good duo, probably the best duo in the competition still for the locking positions. But yeah, they'll be facing the likes of Bryn Evans as well as Perry Parkinson. So it's going to be an interesting contest, obviously, in my opinion, between Whitelock and Perry Parkinson. Obviously, with those two being very tall in size, you can say, and probably wanting to steal a lot of those lineup balls. But yeah, I think it should be very interesting because I think Perry Parkinson's one of those locks who he has a lot of potential to actually do well, and he could he could have an All Blacks call up in the future, in my opinion. So I'll have to wait and see on that. But yeah, it should be an interesting contest. But I'll probably edge it towards the Crusaders still. So anyway, moving on to the loose forwards. The loose forwards is probably the most interesting section. I think this is probably going to be the key battle from the game, in my opinion. With the likes of you do have the likes of Ethan Blackletter, Sione Havili, as well as Cullen Grace for the Crusaders. But they'll be going against the likes of Shannon Brazel, Billy Harmon, and then his actual starting debut, Kazuki Himeno. So this will be a huge chance for him actually to get off the mark. And yeah, I love Himeno. I mean, especially after watching his performances within the World Cup, but also even before that when he played for the Sunwolves. He's always been one of those players who I've really admired. So I'm just happy that he's getting a chance to actually you could say break loose and actually start again for the Highlanders, and no better team really to do it against the Crusaders. So it should be interesting. I mean, the Crusaders have a pretty dominant loose forward pack, but I'm actually going to edge it towards the Highlanders actually within that area, just because they have the likes of Shannon Brazel, who's pretty much the All Black six, and then you have Billy Harmon, who's obviously come from the Crusaders, who's done very well so far for the Highlanders. But yeah, I think I'm just going to edge it towards the Highlanders still within that section. Anyway, moving on to the backs, obviously for the 9-10 combination, the Crusaders haven't really changed that. They have gone back to Mitchell Drummond at 9, so that's kind of interesting because obviously they had they always change between Bryn Hall and Mitchell Drummond, but Mitchell Drummond starting this week with the likes of Richie Mo'unga still. So that's a very good combination. I'm not going to really argue or tell you why that's not good enough, because that's probably the best within the competition so far. But yeah, they will be facing the likes of Falaf Fakatawa as well as Mitch Hunt, which is an interesting combination in my opinion, obviously with Falaf Fakatawa actually replacing Aaron Smith within this game. Aaron Smith is obviously still on the bench, but Fakatawa has been very good in my opinion, I'd say, throughout this campaign so far, when he's obviously come off the bench, or even when he started that one game. So he is definitely going to be their one to watch player, I'd say, within this game for sure, in my opinion. But yeah, definitely keep an eye on him. But yeah, that combo with Mitch Hunt also should be pretty good. And obviously Mitch Hunt is replacing Josh Early within the side, so should be interesting to see how he does. But I'd probably still edge it towards the Crusaders. I mean, who wouldn't really? But anyway, with the centre combinations, this is probably one of the other areas which is kind of interesting because the Crusaders have actually stuck with their same centre combination with the likes of David Havili at 12, and then obviously Jack Goodhue at 13. So it's interesting to see that they haven't really changed that at all, because David Havili normally is like a 15 or. But it's interesting to see how he's adapted to that 12 role. So and obviously that's in replace of Enor, who would normally be there, but obviously he's injured still. So yeah, that's a very good combination. But yeah, they'll be facing the likes of Thomas Sumner Jensen, who obviously did a try last week, and he did very well actually coming off the bench. So yeah, we'll see how he does within this game, and he'll be replacing the likes of C.O. Tompkinson. But yeah, his partner in crime will obviously be Michael Collins, and Michael Collins, yeah, he's more of a playmaking centre, so we'll see how he does within the game. I'll probably still edge towards Crusaders. I mean, it's just the centre combination, which is too dominant, and yeah, when you have the likes of Jack Goodhue, I mean, he's an all-black caliber centre, so what are you going to say, really? Anyway, moving on to the wingers, obviously, for both sides. I mean, with the wingers, you do have the likes of, Lester, who's actually done very well within this competition so far, within that left flank for the Crusaders. But you do actually have the introduction of George Bridge for the first time within this comp, and obviously he'll be replacing Sever Reese, which is, that's kind of what you need, really. You need that kind of, that rotation in that sense within that role, because George Bridge, obviously, this is his first game back in a while, so we'll see how he does. But, going off, previous games he's played, he'll probably give you, as normal, at least a 7 out of 10 performance or even higher, because he's just that consistent of a player. But anyway, moving on to the Highlanders, they do have the likes of John Nareki, who's actually finally back, because obviously he has had brief spells where he just hasn't been selected or he's been a bit injured. I'm not too sure what's the situation, but he was brilliant, of course, against the Chiefs away, so hopefully he can kind of replicate that within this game. But yeah, you do have the likes of Scott Gregory, obviously, who's in that 14 spot, which is kind of interesting because he's had off and on games, if I have to be completely honest. But yeah, hopefully he has a better game within this game for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to edge it towards the Crusaders again. They just have two dominant back lines, actually not go with all their positions, really. But obviously with that 15 spot, it is an interesting competition, I'd say, with the likes of Will Jordan, and then you have the likes of Connor Godin-Basher for the Highlanders, who's actually done very well, I'd say. He's probably been one of the young sparks, you can say, within this competition for sure. But yeah, I think I just have to give it to Will Jordan. I mean, he's too dominant, and he's one of those players who can just find a gap in the defence, and he's so electrifying with his pace. So yeah, he's definitely another one to watch player, I'd say, for the Crusaders for this game. But yeah, anyway, that's kind of it with the squads. If I had to say who would actually win this game, I'd probably edge it towards the Crusaders. I mean, which is kind of a predictable one. But I actually think this game, you might not think it, but I actually think this game will be a lot closer than what a lot of people think. It's always the Highlanders who always give a good game against the Crusaders away. So I'm going to say this game will be... I'll say the Crusaders will win this game by at least, I'll say, 7 points. So I'll say they'll win this game by 30 points to 23. Yeah. 30 points to 23 is my final prediction for this game. Anyway, just hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely like, comment, and subscribe, and yeah, just hope to see you guys soon.